it's Lisa. I'm here with a two-pager today. If you like two-page layouts, I have a class called Two-Page Terrific, and I'll have a link for that down in the description of the video. This two-pager is going to have a lot of photos on it, and that's one of the reasons that I do two-pagers is if I have quite a few photos. Several of them are a little bit smaller. I haven't cut these apart, but they are 3 inches or 4 inches wide by 3 inches high. We visited a gardens. We do that. It's one of our hobbies, as we like to go to different gardens. And this is one we've been to a couple of times over the years, and so it was a nice outing for us. It did end up raining, even though the Weather Channel told me it wasn't going to rain until the afternoon. It started raining in the morning, and so we had a little bit of a damp day, and we're going to use that as part of the theme. I thought it would work in some clouds, because I have a lot of things that have clouds. I had these in my earlier video of stuff I wanted to use this summer. I have these felt clouds from Pebbles. I have these from Studio Calico that I got to work into one of the other layouts. But there's all kinds of size clouds there. And then I was looking for some other stuff, and I came across these wood veneer clouds as well. So I thought that I might actually use some of the wood pieces on this layout and do quite a few things with wood veneer as I started working through my stash. I have flowers here for embellishment. I did find, though, these bird cages. They're beautiful. I got these at Hobby Lobby. I've had them for quite some time. And there were some other plainer ones like this in the pack. But there were these really gorgeous ones. And I've used them on some of my mixed media, but I'm not sure I've used them on a layout. And this particular gardens, they have a large bird cage, and because it was raining, we didn't spend a lot of time over there, but we did go over and see the birds, so I thought I might use the bird cage elements on this layout as well. That's a possibility to do. Oh, I've got two. Let's see, I've got two like that, so let's go ahead and use one of those if we do the bird cages. And then I've got lots of other wood veneer things. This is also the layout where I'm going to use my little photo booklet. I did a separate video on this a couple of weeks ago where I showed you I took some of the pocketed pages and cut them up and just used this as a little booklet on my scrapbook page. So this is the page it's going to go on, and I will put some kind of thing here to turn, a little latch to keep it laying flat when I want to lay flat, and then open it up. And at the end, I'll show you how I deal with this when I put the scrapbook page into its big pocket. Now I have a single photo and then a title going here. I need some paper going across, and I've got a couple of options. I have some 12 by 12 papers. This green, I think there's enough green. I'm not sure that I'm going to do green. I have a couple of pretty magenta colors here. These poles were a big feature of their decor or their design, garden design for that year, for the annuals, and the sculpture was really important too, and that's something I want to kind of focus in on, and that's another reason maybe to do the bird cages rather than flowers for embellishments, is something more with structure to it. I also have this paper from Amy Tangerine. It's an older collection, but the pink is just perfect, and it's not a busy pattern, so it wouldn't be really obtrusive. But on this topic of busy patterns, I also have these jelly prints that I made for when I'm doing a project, and I usually make several prints to see which ones I'm going to want to use. So I've got these that were left, and some really interesting ones using a stencil from Hobby Lobby. So those might figure in somewhere, I don't know. I don't want to end up with too much stuff on the page, but those are just some things that I'm looking at right now. So I think what I want to do, because this area up here, this stuff in between the photos, is going to be washi tape. I've already decided I'm going to use some washi. So this is probably going to be a wood veneer and washi themed page in terms of product. So I got a lot of washi tapes that I can put in here in between the photos. I could use strips of paper as well there if I wanted to, or just, you know, have a more solid background. Because I'm going to be putting washi tape, I need some kind of background for these papers. So let me find something to do for the background and then start cutting things apart and constructing the page. I have decided on this pink paper from Amy Tangerine. I really like the brightness of that, and it goes really well with those poles that were part of the photos. And I'm just trying to pick the green paper to go for the background. I have the celery paper, but I really thought that I wanted one that was a little softer shade of blue-green more for the cloud area. You're not going to see a whole lot of that because the right side of the paper, the photos and everything, and this washi that I'm picking are going to take up the better part of that area. I'm pulling more washi here than I'm going to end up using, but it's good to have that out. And doing a little measuring, I end up cutting this a little bit larger than the sketch showed just to make sure I had enough. So here are all my products that I pulled. I found some flowers that I can put on my bird cages. We've got our washi, and then I have some thickers to use for the title, including those white ones there that I've had a really long time. But there's still some good letters in there, so I think I can get a word or two out of them. I decided on the wood veneer clouds. As I say, we're just going to do a lot of wood veneer on this page. And so I'll have the wood veneer up here, and then I'll have a bird cage on each side, and that sort of makes a three embellishment grouping, then a triangle kind of arrangement on the page. So I was able to get the word June out of the white letters, and I started putting June flowers, you know, April showers, May flowers. What I really wanted to say, though, was June showers. And then I left the L in there. I take the L out, so it's not flowers. Fix that later on. Okay, let's go do some stuff with the washi tape. And I have a different piece of green cardstock here. It didn't really matter because it's going to get covered up. You might see a little bit of it peeking through the different washis, but I didn't have to use that other cardstock, which I did not have tons of, so I didn't want to use it where you wouldn't see it. So we're going to pick some washi and start arranging these. Now, when I got all the way through the video, I figured out how I should have done this. What I should have done was cut 3 4-inch wide strips of cardstock and put my photos on them in vertical strips. So I would have had 2 photos and all the washi for that group of photos on a 4-inch wide strip, and then I could have wrapped them around the edges and then just put the 3 4-inch wide pieces of cardstock with the photos and the washi, glued those to a background. That's what I should have done. What I did instead was try to piece the washi in exactly 4-inch increments, and it made it harder to do. It wasn't bad once I got it all done, but it was a little more frustrating to do. But I did not think of the other way of doing this until I got all the way through. One of the challenges of scrapbooking layouts is that you don't have extra stuff usually. You don't have a second copy of the photos. You don't have that extra pattern paper or even that extra cardstock depending on the colors. And the embellishments and all, you just don't have extras. So you can't do one and then say, oh, I found a better way to do it, and then go back and do another example exactly like that. When I do a card video, sometimes I do. I think of a better way to do something, so I'll reshoot. But I don't usually have that option when I'm scrapbooking. So I just have to tell you how I would have done it. This particular little strip down here at the bottom was definitely the most challenging. I just could not get it to line up perfectly straight, and I finally did get something I was satisfied with. But as I say, if I were doing this again, I would just do 3 4-inch wide strips of cardstock, probably about 7 inches long, and put my photos and washi on each individual one. Then I could wrap them to the back and then put the whole thing on the layout. And you'd never know it was in a bunch of different pieces, and it would look much neater. So you could still get the same effect doing that. And I would have probably used more different kinds of washi, although I think I have enough here. I do end up slipping one more little piece there in the middle. Washi is one of those things that it's been trendy. I think it's still being used a lot in the planners and things, but it's not a product I'm planning to buy more of for scrapbooking. It's fun to work with, but I'm kind of done. You know, it's not just something I want to add to my collections. I want to use what I have, but I don't really want to add a whole lot to it. And there are some places where it's very practical to use, to take things down, and it makes some really neat kind of looks. Now the wood veneer is something that I will continue to buy because I love using it in raw form or with color and pattern, and we're going to do some of that with the clouds. Now this piece I had to keep playing with until I finally was satisfied with it, and I ended up having to wrap some of it to the back to get it to where I was satisfied with that one little bit there. Okay, now that whole section then we'll glue onto some of the background paper here, and I'm using my grid mat just to make sure I get this nice and even, lined up good. And once you get those two glued together, then it's like having one page. All right, and over on the left-hand side, on my sketch I show some kind of trim over there. I think I'm going to use some washi tape and just continue the washi going across, and we'll use that chevron tape. That makes a nice finish over here, and having designer paper that has lines on it makes it really easy to line everything up and keep it straight. Now the right side is going to have quite a bit of journaling. Those strips will come along later. I do want to put some background behind my photo, and I'm looking at all these jelly prints. Most of them though, while they're really pretty and match so well, I don't have a good place for them. But I do have, when I do jelly prints, I always have these areas where I sort of roll off the extra paint and maybe press some of the stencils down or whatever just to get the extra paint off, and those very often become really valuable pieces, and I end up using one of those as a mat for the photo. So you get the color, but you don't have to worry about, you know, covering up all that pattern. Now for the clouds, I'm going to press them into some clear Versamark, hit them with some white embossing powder, and then we're going to heat them up, and we'll have just a little bit of white embossing on my clouds. I don't want them completely covered, and the reason I'm using my finger to sort of rub some of it off is I don't want a strong line there either. I want it kind of to blend from the area that's covered with white embossing powder to the area that's left plain. I did goof and get one of my clouds upside down, but that's okay. It's a cloud. It doesn't make that much difference. I noticed it when I started gluing them on the page. Now I thought for raindrops we'd use some mist. So I'm covering up a large area here because I don't really want the mist to go everywhere. I just want it to stay in a certain area on the page. And then we'll have our little clouds, and we'll put the title underneath those. See how that's glued down, and I'm ready to glue down my little booklet. I had the link buried in this video too if you want to see how that booklet was made. And it just folds up, and we're going to fix a way to open and close that so it doesn't just sort of fall open when you open up the scrapbook. We're going to put a little catch to it. These little pieces of chipboard are the middles out of various different letters. O's and A's and D's and whatever, and I picked one there that was oblong that I think will make a good little catch. I'm going to put a brad in it. I'm coloring it with a marker, and at first I thought, oh gosh, this is dark, but I have to remember that these Stampin' Up! Markers are going to dry lighter than what the color appears. And I'm just picking one of my, it's been a while since I've used brads. I love brads, but I hadn't had my Mind's Eye brads out in a while. So we're going to put one of those in place. And now we have a little catch to hold the booklet closed when it needs to close. And I started looking around for some other wood veneer pieces to add little bits to some of those other photos, and I went through a lot of pieces, looked at words, tried a lot of different things here. What I found was though that these pieces were doing more detracting from the layout than adding to it, because I have those, the two bird cages and the clouds form those three different groups, or the bird cages will once they get their flowers on there. And if I put other wood veneer pieces on, anything of any size, they started to take away. So I didn't end up using those. What I did was find some stickers to use instead. Even the happy together, it's cute, but it takes away from the title and stuff. So these paper flowers from Hobby Lobby. And I end up gluing those on with hot glue. I do that off camera, but I found the best way to hold them in place. And here are my stickers. I have some Maggie Holmes word stickers that I have not used. And there's lots of good ones here that I can add to the photos. And that's a subtle addition. And I also have some stickers there from October Afternoon. I needed something to give a little bit more weight to the birdcage over on the left. And I end up using one of those labels stickers to do that. Now we have a lot of photos on our 2-page spread. 6, you could do another 3, or in my case I did 6 here. So I ended up with a total of 13, but you could have at least 10 photos on this kind of layout. Or you could take your 4x6s and turn them this way and not do so much washi tape. So it's real versatile 2-pager. And if you like 2-pagers, I do have the 2-page Terrific class where we talk a lot more about arranging the pages and how to take one piece of paper and make that work with a 2-page spread. Do a lot of different things there. But anyway, let's take some close-ups of this, and I'm going to show you how to put this in an album so you can still get it out. So we've got our washi tape, which proved to be a little bit more challenging to me. I think if I were doing it again, I'd probably just do paper strips. I think I'd be happier with that because I'd know exactly the sizes and glue those in place. But you know, it's just another way to use your washi tape. And we got a lot of wood veneer pieces in here. And you could do even more. You could have done, you know, some small pieces as well in this. And I like my clouds with a little bit of embossing on there. And then this piece also. So what I'm going to do now is take this and I'm going to slip it into a page protector. And I need to make sure I'm going the right way here. Let's see, I got it upside down. I did. Alright, so let's take this and put it into a page protector. And there's probably going to be some glare on the screen. Alright. And now I'm going to take some of my washi tape and mark where I want to cut out, because I don't want to cut over the top of this. And I want to give myself enough room so it's easy to get it open. And I'm going to have to do, I think I can do it just with this much, and I'll have to open that whole area. You can always cut more. Alright, so now let's take our page back out and slip in a piece of cardboard, in this case chipboard. We're going to take a craft knife and a ruler so it can stay straight, and I want that to go there good. Alright, and then there. Alright, so we'll take that off. A little bit of washi there. And now slip this back in. Carefully. Hanging there on the bottom. Alright. Now it's down in there. So now when I want to open it, I just slide this, pull that open, and then slide it back. Alright, and that's our finished page. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you'll check out my blog for the sketch and for that 2-page Terrific class. And if you have any questions or suggestions or anything, please leave me a comment. I love to get your comments. And I love to get a thumbs up if you like the video. Thanks again.